Okay, today we are doing a manual drafting demonstration, designing a wooden shoe rack. So first I want to say you don't need a lot of expensive tools to do manual drafting. Basic T-square. I'm using my living room table as you see here in this picture. And we're going to use basic, inexpensive, readily available tools to do this drawing. So I have this drafting scale. You can buy this at your local office supply store or online. Doesn't have to be a scale, could be a regular old school ruler, number 2 pencil, pink eraser. If you don't have drafting tape, just a low tack art tape you can buy at your local supplier. And one of these 30, 60, 90-degree triangles, again at your local office supply store, drafting store, art supply store, or online, because this is going to be an isometric view. I have this dry erase bag. You don't have to have it. Brush works great so you don't get the oil from your skin on the paper when you're wiping away eraser shavings. So first, with our T-square firmly against the edge of the table, we're going to go ahead and tape down our paper to the work surface. You want your paper to be nice and level. And I just sight along the bottom edge of the paper there to make sure it's level and even all the way across. And we're just going to simply apply tape in all 4 corners to hold it in place. So this tutorial is great for the do-it-yourselfer. Maybe you have a project around your home, or maybe even at work where you just need to make one object or a piece of furniture, piece of shop equipment, but you don't have AutoCAD or don't want to go through the expense of subscribing to an AutoCAD product. Manual drafting works great. And then later on in the end of this video, we will scan the drawing into the computer where we can add dimension lines, notes, etc. In the drafting bag, when you put those eraser shavings down like I did, it allows your tools to glide more easily on the surface. And I'm using these non-bleed fine line markers to ink the drawing once we get it penciled in. And again, you can buy those at your local art supply store, office supply store, or online. I'm first going to start by making a border all the way around the paper, 1/2 inch on the left side, right side, top, 1 inch on the bottom. Don't have to do a border, it's up to you. Quick disclaimer, any product or material you see in this video is not a paid promotion for any make, model, brand, or product. I apologize for getting my big goofy head in the way. I'm going to try my best to stay out of camera frame. So you can see how this 30, 60, 90-degree triangle works. You can make your vertical lines with it. You line up the bottom of the triangle with your T-square. Strike your line. There you go. So again, pretty simple to use. And I'm going to use a thick black marker so you can see the border on camera. I think this marker is getting dried out. Again, it's important when you do your inking that you use the non-bleed fine line markers, because the last thing you want is to do a drawing, go to ink it, and then the ink bleeds or leaves little puddles of ink on your paper. That would not be good. So hopefully you can see that well on camera. So you can see how I use a T-square and a triangle together to get my vertical lines, and then use a T-square by itself for my horizontal lines. All right. Now you can lightly place a center line if that helps you. I find I don't need to do that. And basically this shoe rack that I'm designing here is essentially a cube shape or a rectangular cube shape, three-dimensional shape that we're drawing an isometric view of. So I'm just simply going to place it roughly where I want it on the paper. You can draw it to scale. You don't have to. Again, it depends on your specific situation. So basically, I'm just doing the rough outline of a cube, of sort of a rectangular cube. I forget what they call that in geometry, but you get the idea. And then from that rough outline, I can go ahead and add the top shelf, the middle shelf, the sides, face frame, etc. And it's a good idea to lightly draw your pencil lines first. It makes it quick and easy to erase if you make a mistake. If you press down too hard with your pencil, it's going to be hard to erase if you make a mistake. And we will use the fine line markers to ink the actual drawing itself here in a few minutes, so it shows up better on camera and you get a nice finished product. I'm thinking I'm going to make this just out of cheap 12x1 pine boards you can buy at your local home center. I'm not going to show the build of this shoe rack. That's not the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video is for manual drafting. So just FYI. But again, it's always important to make sure you keep the head of your T-squares snug against the edge of your drafting table or whatever table you use for your work surface. So all your lines stay parallel and plumb. Don't go wonky. Okay, and now I'm laying out my middle shelf for shoes to sit on. Okay, I'm happy with the way the pencil drawing turned out. We'll go ahead and get our eraser mess cleared away. We'll grab our fine line markers and ink the drawing. And unfortunately, I think my markers are getting dried out and old, like me. So usually with these fine line markers, you won't have to keep going back and forth on your lines like you see me doing here. I need to get myself some new markers here pretty soon. Okay, now that the inking is done, I'm going to go back through and erase all of my light pencil lines, clean up the drawing, and we'll do a little bit of shading on this, although shading is not necessary. So it's a 3D object. To make it pop off the paper more, it's simply going to take a pencil and shade in the areas that would normally be shaded in real life. And of course the shelf would have some shading on it as well. And these paper stumps work great. They'll give you nice, smooth, even shaded areas that come in different sizes. Again, you don't have to use those, but it certainly make it nice. And we'll add a little bit of shading here to the shelf, because it would have a shadow cast on it in real life. Again, just to make it more clear and pop off the paper a little bit. You can also use your finger like so. And then if you want to make wood grain, you can simply draw like a small oval and then some larger ovals around it. It kind of gives like a wood grain texture. Cleaning up the edges with my eraser. That's it. We'll go ahead and scan it into the computer and add our labels and dimensions. You don't have to do this step. You could add your labels and dimensions by hand, but I prefer to scan it in and have computer type where you can print it out and have it really look nice. But again, to each his or her own. So now in the computer here, you can also clean it up, which is nice. You can see a few little minor smudges here and there. I'll simply make those disappear by adding a white square. You can drag it out. And again, I'm just trying to clean up the drawing a little bit here. Cover up any minor smudges and imperfections that I don't like. And if you wanted to, you can even add additional shading and details to the actual shoe rack itself. I'm not going to do that here because this is a good enough working drawing that I can make the shoe rack from. But just wanted to show you some options you can consider when doing your drawing. It's a quick, easy way to clean up a drawing. And you can do the same thing with the lines as well. If any of your lines are not dark enough, or they're broken or faded or don't look nice, you can use the line tool to go over those lines to make them sharper and cleaner. So now we're going to make a little title bar or title box. So we're going to add a black border around this box. You can increase the line weight here. And we'll simply drag it down to the corner and place it where we want it. And it's a good idea to save your work as you go along. And we'll go up to the text tool and we'll add text inside this box. I also want to show you, if you're not happy with the border lines, you don't want any fill in the inside, so then we'll drag out this big square and you can see it gives a cleaner border. So just again, another option for you to think about. Again, save as you go along. Click on text. Drag the text down here and we'll enter our text in the box. And we'll resize and reshape the text here. Need to make it a lot smaller. Looks good there. Now we're going to go ahead and add our dimensions. So we know how tall, how wide it is, how deep it is. Everything's going to be in inches here on my drawing. You can add the actual dimension lines if you wish. For me personally, it's not necessary for this private project I'm doing here at home. You can see 24 inches wide, 24 inches tall, 12 inches deep. And I want to call out the distance from the ground to this middle shelf. It's going to be 12 inches. But you can add lines. Sometimes lines are helpful. And you can see you can drag the line around, resize it, like so. Make it shorter. Before I let go of it, I'm going to copy paste that same line so they're both the same size. Drag it where I want it. Then we're going to add our materials of construction as well as other crucial notes for me. So as I build this project, I don't forget anything and it's very clear what needs to be done, what materials are needed. So there's a finished drawing that I'll print out and use for my project. I hope this drafting tutorial helped you. And there's a finished product in use. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and thanks for watching.